Anthony Joshua says that neither him nor Tyson Fury get the credit they deserve from the world media because they're British rather than American, and America is the center of everything in the Western world when it comes to media, and certainly when it comes to the credit that you get as a boxer. So I'm going to quote Anthony Joshua directly. He says, as a British heavyweight fighter, we never get the respect from the world media, which is governed by America to a certain degree because we're British. Americans are going to take care of Americans. So when I lost, you take challenges. The goal is to win 100%. So those are the words of AJ. Now, it is true that the American boxing press have been extremely biased in favor of their own fighters and against particularly British fighters. It's basically any fighter who comes in that is from another boxing nation and presents a threat to the top American fighters. Americans, and this is a generalization here, they tend to get very patriotic about that. And this was very much the case when Lennox Lewis was campaigning in America as a British fighter. He got an enormous amount of hate and ridicule and unfair, extremely biased criticism from the American press, the American public, to some degree from American fighters, although in the latter stages of Lewis's career, because he'd beaten just about all the best American fighters, they begrudgingly started giving him respect. I think the Ray Mercer fight was really a turning point in Lennox Lewis's career because he had a real tough fight with Ray Mercer. He went back and forth with him toe to toe, and he won Ray Mercer's respect. And Mercer was very well respected in the boxing circles in America and by the American press for being a tough guy. Not necessarily the best boxer or anything like that, not the most skilled guy, but a real tough guy. And the fact that Lewis went toe to toe with him and he didn't crumble, he didn't crack, he didn't show any lack of heart or anything like that, that won Mercer's respect. And gradually from that moment on, the American press started giving Lewis a bit more credit. But prior to that, I mean, the bias was unreal. They used to give Michael Moorer a pass and he had a real weak chin. They used to give Riddick Bowe a pass for being wobbled by people like Tyrell Biggs, for having a real close, controversial decision over an ancient Tony Tubbs. I mean, he got dropped by Holyfield in the first. I mean, they used to give Riddick Bowe a pass for so many things, Michael Moorer and so many other American heavyweights in comparison to Lennox Lewis. So there was a massive amount of bias then. But today, the situation is a little different because the American boxing scene is not as strong as it was back in the 80s and 90s, and it's a lot more fractured now. Now, look, when it comes to ethnicity, most human beings, to some extent, and by most, I just mean more than 50%, most human beings, to one degree or another, tend to gravitate towards people of their own ethnicity. Okay. In America, this reality is a lot more pronounced. America is a much more racially divided society than the UK is. So when you see, let's say, Floyd Mayweather fans, the overwhelming majority of them are going to be the same ethnicity as Floyd Mayweather. Okay. When you see Conor McGregor fans in the US, I know Conor McGregor's Irish, but the vast majority of his fans, they're from a certain demographic. Okay. With Tyson Fury, he's British, yes, but he is tapped into the same kind of American demographic that Conor McGregor is tapped into because of the fact that America is such a racially divided society and people tend to follow based on racial lines far more than they do in the UK. So I'm not saying Tyson Fury has deliberately gone out to do that, not at all, but it's just a situation that happens, okay? So he is benefiting in a way that Lennox Lewis never could because he was going up against African-American fighters, Lennox Lewis, and being a black British guy himself of Jamaican descent. There was nobody in America. There was no fan base there that were going to latch on to him. Why would they? You know, there was no demographic that were going to gravitate towards Lennox Lewis. So he had it real tough. There was no way he could, in the eyes of most American fans, do any right, and certainly the boxing press. But with Tyson Fury, and in this day and age, different, he does have a demographic there that gravitate towards him. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, he is in a bit of a situation, because if it wasn't for the fact that Deontay Wilder is a rival of Anthony Joshua's, he might actually be popular over there with Black Americans. But because he's a direct rival of Wilder, that precludes him basically from being popular with them. And with other demographics in America, again, it's a very divided society. People are not really going to gravitate towards AJ the way they do in the UK. In the UK, you go to an AJ show, there's people of all different colors there. Again, the UK is not anywhere near as divided on racial lines as America is. So yeah, AJ gets the brunt of the criticism from the American press, and there's no demographic there to back him up really for AJ. But for Tyson Fury, I think he's doing very well. I think he's been very well received by large sections of the American public, and I think his popularity will continue to grow over there. And it's not just his ethnicity, of course. It's the fact that he is a very, very good fighter. It's the fact that he is a fearless character. I think people like that, you know, particularly in a place like America, when you have a very brash individual like Tyson Fury, who is a trash talker, who talks very confidently. That tends to go down better in America than it does in the UK. British people traditionally are a bit more socially conservative than Americans. Americans are a bit more open to braggadociousness and show-offs and stuff like that. In fact, Tyson Fury, if he had been from an earlier generation, I mean, he would have probably, you know, I mean, I could have imagined him or his family ending up in America, you know, as one of the people from an Irish background who ended up in the United States in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he probably would have had a field day. You know what I mean? Because characters like that really made names for themselves over there. So anyway, I'm going off on a little side route here. Let me get back on track. Main thing is, I see where Anthony Joshua was coming from. Certainly if he was American, he wouldn't get as much criticism from the American media or the American fans, and he'd get a lot more praise. But it's not just his nationality that's the issue, you know. And Tyson Fury, as I say, I think he's actually doing okay over in America, and I think he gets plenty of praise. The demographic which don't give Tyson Fury the credit he deserves for the most part are the demographic that support Deontay Wilder. And of course, it's mainly African Americans, but not only African Americans, it's people from around the world who, for whatever reason, find the ratchet, ghetto, ignorant American culture. Okay, I'm talking about the specific subculture, the ratchet world star American subculture. People who are impressed by that culture, and they're not all black people, okay? Those are the ones who tend to be Wilder fans. And as such, those are the people who tend to try and take credit away from Tyson Fury. Yeah. But anybody who is impartial, neutral, or a Fury fan, of course, you're going to see straight through the nonsense. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Anthony Joshua's comments that he and Tyson Fury don't get the credit they deserve because they're not American. Let me know, people. What's happening them out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.